Dr. Olivia Blackwood wiped the sweat from her brow as she carefully brushed away centuries of dust from the artifact before her. The dim light of the underground bunker cast long shadows across the room, giving an eerie atmosphere to her discovery. Her heart raced with excitement as more of the object was revealed. It was unmistakably a weapon, but unlike anything she had seen in her years as a xenoarchaeologist. "Dr. Blackwood, you might want to see this," her assistant, Tom, called from across the room. He was hunched over a console, its screen flickering with ancient data streams. Olivia reluctantly tore her gaze away from the weapon and made her way to Tom's side. As her eyes scanned the information scrolling across the screen, her excitement grew. "This is incredible," she breathed. "It's not just any weapon, it's a prototype. Something that was never mass-produced." Tom nodded, his eyes wide with wonder. According to these logs, it was designed to be adaptable, to evolve with new technology. But the project was abandoned when the Zephyrians arrived, Olivia finished for him. The arrival of the technologically advanced alien race had changed everything for humanity. What had once been a promising future of space exploration and technological advancement had quickly turned into a relationship of subservience and mockery. Olivia's mind raced with possibilities. This weapon, this relic of humanity's past, could be the key to changing their future. But she knew she couldn't do it alone. She needed help, and she knew just who to call. As the sun set over the sprawling metropolis of New Geneva, Olivia found herself in the cluttered workshop of Dr. Emilia Vega, one of Earth's most brilliant engineers. The two women had been friends since their university days, and Olivia knew there was no one better suited to help her with this project. "So, let me get this straight," Emilia said, peering at the weapon through a magnifying glass. "You want to take this ancient gun and turn it into something that can compete with Zephyrian tech?" Olivia nodded, her eyes gleaming with determination. "Exactly. The Zephyrians have been looking down on us for too long. It's time we showed them what humans are truly capable of." Emilia leaned back in her chair, a thoughtful expression on her face. "It won't be easy. We'll need resources, a team, and we'll have to keep it all under wraps. The Zephyrian ambassadors won't take kindly to us developing weapons." "I know," Olivia replied. "But I've already thought of that. I have a friend in the Global Defense Initiative who can help us. He can provide us with the resources and the secrecy we need." Emilia raised an eyebrow. "You've really thought this through, haven't you?" Olivia smiled. "I've been waiting for an opportunity like this for years. We can't let it slip away." Over the next few weeks, Olivia and Emilia worked tirelessly on the weapon. They brought in a small team of trusted experts, physicists, materials scientists, and computer engineers. Each day brought new challenges, but also new breakthroughs. The weapon, which they had dubbed Phoenix, was slowly taking shape. Its original form was barely recognizable now, enhanced with cutting-edge materials and powered by a miniature fusion reactor. But the real magic was in its adaptability. True to its original design, Phoenix could interface with and incorporate new technologies on the fly. As they worked, news from the outside world filtered in. The Zephyrians were becoming more aggressive in their dealings with Earth. There were rumors of other alien races being subjugated, their resources stripped away. The need for Phoenix became more urgent with each passing day. One evening, as Olivia was running simulations on Phoenix's targeting systems, she received an unexpected visitor. Admiral James Hawthorne, her contact in the Global Defense Initiative, strode into the lab, his face grim. "We're running out of time," he said without preamble. "The Zephyrians are planning something big. We need Phoenix ready as soon as possible." Olivia felt a chill run down her spine. "How soon?" 2 weeks, Hawthorne replied. "There's going to be a demonstration of Zephyrian military might. All the races in this sector of the galaxy will be there. It's our chance to show them that humanity isn't to be trifled with." Olivia exchanged a glance with Emilia, who had been listening nearby. 2 weeks wasn't much time, but they were close. With a final push, they might just make it. "We'll be ready," Olivia promised. The next 2 weeks were a blur of activity. The team worked around the clock, fine-tuning every aspect of Phoenix. Sleep became a luxury, meals were taken in hurried bites between tests and adjustments. But as the deadline approached, their efforts began to pay off. Phoenix was more than just a weapon now. It was a symbol of human ingenuity and resilience. In its sleek lines and pulsing energy core, Olivia saw the future of humanity, a future where they stood as equals among the stars, not as subservient children to be patronized and controlled. The night before the demonstration, Olivia stood alone in the lab, her hand resting on Phoenix. Tomorrow, everything would change. For better or worse, the galaxy would see what humans were truly capable of. As she turned to leave, she caught sight of her reflection in a polished panel. The woman staring back at her looked tired but determined. Olivia smiled. Tomorrow, they would make history. Little did she know, the events set in motion by Phoenix would reshape not just Earth's future, but the entire balance of power in the galaxy. The age of human subservience was coming to an end, and a new era was about to dawn, an era where humanity would take its rightful place among the stars. Ambassador Julian Reeves adjusted his tie nervously as he entered the grand hall of the Zephyrian embassy. The tension in the air was palpable, a stark contrast to the serene beauty of the alien architecture surrounding him. Crystalline structures pulsed with an otherworldly light, casting intricate shadows across the polished floor. As he approached the central podium, Julian caught sight of his Zephyrian counterpart, Ambassador Xylith. The alien's iridescent skin shimmered under the soft light, their multiple eyes blinking in an unsettling rhythm. Julian took a deep breath, steeling himself for the diplomatic dance that lay ahead. "Greetings, Ambassador Xylith," Julian began, his voice steady despite his inner turmoil. "I trust we can have a productive discussion today regarding the recent misunderstandings between our peoples." Xylith's mouthparts twitched in what Julian had come to recognize as a sign of amusement. "Misunderstandings, Ambassador Reeves? Is that what you call your species' blatant disregard for the technological restrictions we've put in place for your own good?" Julian fought to keep his expression neutral. The patronizing tone in Xylith's voice was all too familiar, a constant reminder of the Zephyrians' perceived superiority. "With all due respect, Ambassador, those restrictions were never agreed upon by both parties. Humanity has the right to pursue its own technological advancements." "Advancements?" Xylith's laugh was a harsh, clicking sound. "Your species can barely manage interplanetary travel without our guidance. The idea that you could develop anything of consequence is amusing." The word stung, but Julian pressed on. "Perhaps you underestimate us, Ambassador. Humanity has a long history of innovation in the face of adversity. We dash." Yes, Xylith interrupted, waving a multi-jointed appendage dismissively. "We've all heard the quaint tales of human perseverance. But let's discuss reality, shall we? Our sensors have detected unusual energy signatures coming from your research facilities on Mars. Care to explain?" Julian's heart raced. The Phoenix project was supposed to be a closely guarded secret. How much did the Zephyrians know? He decided to play it safe. "I'm afraid I'm not privy to the details of every research project, Ambassador. But I can assure you that any energy readings you've detected are well within the bounds of our agreed-upon treaties." Xylith's eyes narrowed, all four of them focusing intently on Julian. "Are they? Because our analysis suggests otherwise. We've been patient with your species, Ambassador Reeves. But our patience has limits." The threat in Xylith's words was unmistakable. Julian felt a chill run down his spine, but he maintained his composure. "I understand your concerns, Ambassador. Perhaps we could arrange a joint inspection of the facilities in question. That would surely put your mind at ease." "An inspection?" Xylith seemed to consider the idea for a moment. Very well. But be warned, Ambassador. If we find any evidence of prohibited research, the consequences will be severe. As Julian left the embassy, his mind raced with the implications of this meeting. He needed to warn Dr. Patel and her team. The Zephyrians were closing in, and time was running out. Back at the Earth Embassy, Julian paced in his office, dictating an urgent message to his superiors. The situation is deteriorating rapidly, he said, his voice tight with worry. The Zephyrians are suspicious of our activities on Mars. We need to accelerate our plans or risk losing everything we've worked for. As he finished his report, Julian's assistant, Lena, entered the room. Sir, we've just received word from Earth. The UEF Council wants to speak with you immediately. Julian nodded grimly. Patch them through. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the stern faces of the UEF Council members. Admiral Zhao, the head of Earth's defense forces, spoke first. Ambassador Reeves, we've received your report. The situation is even more critical than you realize. Our intelligence suggests that the Zephyrians are mobilizing their fleet. We believe they may be preparing for a preemptive strike. Julian felt the blood drain from his face. A strike? But surely they wouldn't risk open war. They might if they believe we pose a genuine threat to their dominance, Councilwoman Adebayo interjected. Ambassador, we need you to buy us more time. Dr. Patel's team is close to a breakthrough, but they need at least another month to complete their work. A month? Julian ran a hand through his hair, his mind racing. I'm not sure I can stall them that long. The Zephyrians are demanding an inspection of our Mars facilities. Admiral Zhao leaned forward, his expression grave. Then you'll have to give them one, Ambassador. But it needs to be on our terms. We're sending a team of our best operatives to assist you. They'll help create a convincing facade for the inspection. Julian nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. I'll do my best, Admiral. But what if it's not enough? What if the Zephyrians decide to attack anyway? There was a moment of heavy silence before Councilwoman Adebayo spoke. Then, Ambassador Reeves, you may find yourself on the front lines of humanity's first interstellar war. May God help us all if it comes to that. As the transmission ended, Julian slumped into his chair, the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He had always believed in the power of diplomacy, in the idea that different species could coexist peacefully. But now, faced with the Zephyrians' arrogance and the looming threat of conflict, he began to wonder if Dr. Patel's weapon might be humanity's only hope. Over the next few weeks, Julian threw himself into preparations for the Zephyrian inspection. He worked closely with the UEF operatives, meticulously crafting a narrative that would satisfy the aliens' curiosity without revealing the true nature of the Phoenix project. As the day of the inspection drew near, Julian found himself standing once again in the Zephyrian embassy, face to face with Ambassador Xylith. The alien's demeanor was even colder than before, their eyes glinting with suspicion. I hope you understand the gravity of this situation, Ambassador Reeves, Xylith said, their voice a low hiss. If we find any evidence of prohibited research, it will be considered an act of war. Julian met Xylith's gaze steadily. We have nothing to hide, Ambassador. Humanity seeks only peaceful coexistence and mutual understanding between our species. As they boarded the shuttle that would take them to Mars, Julian silently prayed that his words would prove true. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and he was walking a razor's edge between peace and catastrophe. The Martian landscape stretched out before them, a vast red expanse dotted with the gleaming domes of human settlements. As their shuttle descended towards the research facility, Julian could feel the tension radiating from the Zephyrian delegation. Ambassador Xylith's multiple eyes darted from side to side, taking in every detail. Your people have been busy, Ambassador Reeves. These facilities are more extensive than we were led to believe. Julian nodded, maintaining his calm facade. Mars has become a crucial part of our scientific endeavors, Ambassador. We've made great strides in terraforming and sustainable living technologies. As they entered the main research complex, Julian's heart raced. This was the moment of truth. The UEF operatives had worked tirelessly to create a convincing cover for the Phoenix project, but would it be enough to fool the Zephyrians? Dr. Emilia Vega, the lead scientist of the Facade project, greeted them at the entrance. "Welcome, Ambassador Xylith," she said, her voice steady. "We're honored to have you here. Shall we begin the tour?" For the next several hours, Julian watched with bated breath as Dr. Vega led the Zephyrian delegation through the facility. She explained each project in meticulous detail, from atmospheric processors to advanced hydroponics systems. The Zephyrians seemed impressed, but Julian could see that Xylith remained skeptical. As they approached the final section of the tour, Julian's anxiety peaked. This was where the real Phoenix project was hidden, disguised as a power generation experiment. Dr. Vega began her explanation, her words carefully chosen to reveal nothing of the weapon's true nature. Suddenly, one of the Zephyrian scientists raised a hand. "These energy readings, they're unlike anything I've seen before. What exactly is the source of this power?" Julian felt a bead of sweat trickle down his back. This was the moment he had been dreading. But before he could intervene, Dr. Vega smoothly stepped in. "Ah, you've noticed our latest breakthrough," she said, her tone casual yet enthusiastic. "We've been experimenting with a new form of fusion reaction, one that draws on principles we've observed in Zephyrian technology. It's still in its early stages, of course, but the potential applications are quite exciting." The Zephyrian scientist's eyes narrowed, but after a moment of tense silence, they nodded. "Fascinating. We would be very interested in reviewing your research data." "Of course," Dr. Vega replied smoothly. "We'll be happy to share our findings once we've completed our initial trials. As I'm sure you understand, we want to ensure our data is thoroughly vetted before release." As the tour concluded, Julian could see the conflict in Xylith's expression. The ambassador seemed torn between lingering suspicion and grudging admiration for the human achievements they had witnessed. "Well, Ambassador Reeves," Xylith said as they prepared to depart, "it seems your people have been more productive than we anticipated. While we still have concerns about some of your energy experiments, we find no clear evidence of prohibited research." Julian allowed himself a small sigh of relief. "I'm pleased to hear that, Ambassador. I hope this inspection has helped to alleviate some of the tensions between our peoples." As the Zephyrian shuttle lifted off, Julian turned to Dr. Vega. "That was too close," he murmured. "How much longer does Dr. Patel need?" Dr. Vega's expression was grim. "A week, maybe 2 at most." "But Julian, I'm not sure it will be enough time. The Zephyrians aren't fools. They suspect something, even if they can't prove it yet." Julian nodded, his mind already racing with possibilities. "Then we need to be prepared for every eventuality. Contact Admiral Zhao. Tell him to ready the fleet. Just in case." As he watched the Zephyrian shuttle disappear into the Martian sky, Julian Reeves felt the weight of history on his shoulders. He had bought humanity some time, but the clock was ticking. The next move would determine the fate of their species, and Julian prayed they were ready for whatever came next. Engineer Raj Patel wiped the sweat from his brow as he peered into the intricate inner workings of the modified ancient gun. The weapon that had once been a source of mockery for the Colons now stood as a symbol of human ingenuity and determination. But Raj knew their work was far from over. "How are the quantum energy cells holding up?" he asked his colleague, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, who was hunched over a nearby console. Yuki's fingers danced across the holographic display. "Stable for now, but we're pushing them to their limits. We need to find a way to increase their capacity without compromising stability." Raj nodded, his mind already racing with possibilities. The tension between humans and Colons had escalated rapidly since the public demonstration of the weapon. What had started as a project to earn respect had now become a race to prepare for potential conflict. The lab, nestled deep within a secret facility in the Rocky Mountains, buzzed with activity. Engineers and scientists from various disciplines worked tirelessly, each focused on different aspects of weapons development. The ancient gun, now codenamed Phoenix, served as the foundation for a new generation of human weaponry. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the team's resident physicist, approached Raj with a concerned expression. "We've hit a snag with the plasma-infused projectiles. The containment field is unstable at higher velocities." Raj frowned. "We can't afford setbacks now. The UEF is counting on us to deliver results." He paused, considering their options. "What if we approach it from a different angle? Instead of increasing velocity, let's focus on impact force." Lena's eyes lit up. "You mean like a kinetic energy amplifier?" "That could work, but we'd need to completely redesign the ammunition." "Then that's what we'll do," Raj said firmly. "Assemble a team and get started on the redesign immediately." As Lena hurried off, Raj turned his attention to the central holographic display. It showed a real-time map of known colon military movements. The alien ships, represented by pulsing red dots, seemed to be gathering near the edges of human-controlled space. Commander Jae-hoon Park, their liaison with the UEF, entered the lab. His usually stoic expression was marred by worry. "The situation is escalating faster than we anticipated," he said without preamble. "We've detected unusual energy signatures from the colon fleet. Our analysts believe they're preparing for a major offensive." Raj felt a chill run down his spine. "How long do we have?" "Best estimate? 2 weeks, maybe less," Commander Park replied grimly. Raj's mind raced. 2 weeks wasn't nearly enough time to complete their current projects, let alone develop new ones. They needed a breakthrough, and they needed it fast. "All right, listen up everyone," Raj called out, his voice cutting through the lab's chatter. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to him. "We're on a tighter deadline than we thought. I need everyone to focus on immediate, practical applications of our technology. Anything that can give our forces an edge in combat. Dr. Tanaka, prioritize shield penetration for the Phoenix. Dr. Rodriguez, I want those kinetic amplifiers operational ASAP. Everyone else, review your projects and cut anything that can't be combat ready in 10 days. The lab erupted into a flurry of activity as the team sprang into action. Raj turned back to Commander Park. "We'll do our best, but we're going to need more resources. And I want direct access to the frontline units. If we're going to arm them, we need to know exactly what they're up against." Commander Park nodded. "I'll make it happen. Just, give us something we can use, Patel. The fate of humanity might well depend on it." As the commander left, Raj felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily on his shoulders. He looked around the lab at his team, each member working with fierce determination. They were humanity's best hope, a forge of innovation in the face of an overwhelming threat. Over the next few days, the lab became a hive of non-stop activity. Meals were taken at workstations, and sleep was a luxury few could afford. Raj pushed himself and his team to their limits, knowing that every second counted. Dr. Tanaka's breakthrough came first. By reverse engineering principles observed in colon shield technology, she developed a modulation system for the Phoenix that could adapt its energy signature in real time, allowing it to penetrate even the most advanced alien defenses. Dr. Rodriguez and her team followed soon after, presenting a prototype of the kinetic amplifier. In initial tests, it increased the impact force of standard ammunition by a factor of 10, without requiring any additional power from the weapon itself. Other innovations followed in rapid succession: adaptive camouflage systems, AI-driven tactical analysis modules, and even rudimentary reverse-engineered colon propulsion technology. Each development brought a glimmer of hope, a chance that humanity might stand against the impending storm. As the deadline approached, Raj oversaw the integration of their new technologies into existing human weaponry and defenses. The Phoenix, once a single modified ancient gun, had spawned an entire arsenal of advanced weapons. On the eve of the predicted Colin offensive, Raj stood before a gathering of UEF officials and military leaders. The exhaustion of the past 2 weeks showed on his face, but his eyes burned with determination. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice steady despite his fatigue, "what we present to you today is more than just weapons. It's a testament to human resilience, creativity, and our unwavering will to survive." As he detailed each innovation, Raj could see the spark of hope ignite in the eyes of the assembled leaders. They had entered the briefing room weighed down by the looming threat, they left standing taller, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. In the days that followed, as the first reports of Colin incursions reached Earth, Raj and his team remained in the lab, working tirelessly to support the human defense efforts. They knew that the real test of their creations was yet to come, but they faced it with the same spirit of innovation and determination that had brought them this far. The ancient gun, once a symbol of humanity's primitive past, had become the catalyst for a technological revolution. As Raj watched the latest combat footage, showing human ships holding their own against the Colin fleet, he allowed himself a moment of pride. They had taken the Colin's mockery and turned it into the very thing that might save their species. The forge of innovation burned brighter than ever, ready to meet any challenge the cosmos might throw their way. Humanity, armed with the fruits of their ingenuity, stood ready to claim their place among the stars. Captain Lydia Frost stood on the bridge of the UEF Defiant, Earth's first true interstellar warship. Her eyes scanned the holographic display, taking in the positions of both human and Colin vessels scattered across the sector. The tension in the air was palpable as the crew worked silently at their stations, each aware of the gravity of their situation. "Status report," Lydia called out, her voice steady despite the weight of command. Lieutenant Commander Ravi Sharma, her second-in-command, responded promptly. "All systems nominal, Captain. Shields at full capacity, and the Phoenix array is primed and ready." Lydia nodded, a grim smile playing on her lips. The Phoenix array, based on Dr. Patel's groundbreaking work, was humanity's trump card in this standoff. It represented the pinnacle of human ingenuity, a weapon system that had evolved from a single modified ancient gun into a formidable defensive network. As the Defiant approached the edge of the Cerulean Nebula, Lydia's tactical display lit up with new contacts. A fleet of Colin ships emerged from the swirling gases, their sleek forms a stark contrast to the more utilitarian design of the human vessels. "Incoming transmission from the Colin flagship," announced Communications Officer Zara Chen. On screen, Lydia ordered, straightening her uniform. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Colin Admiral Exorthak. His translucent skin shimmered with an inner light, and his multiple eyes fixed on Lydia with an unnerving intensity. "Captain Frost," Exorthak's voice reverberated through the bridge, "you are entering restricted space. Turn back now, or we will be forced to take action." Lydia met the alien's gaze unflinchingly. "Admiral Exorthak, we are well within the boundaries established by the Galactic Concordat. The Cerulean Nebula is neutral territory, open to all species for scientific exploration." Exorthak's eyes narrowed. "The Concordat is obsolete, Captain. The galaxy is changing, and humanity would do well to recognize its place in the new order." "And what place would that be, Admiral?" Lydia challenged, her voice sharp. "Subservient to the Colins? We've come too far to turn back now." The Colin Admiral's expression hardened. "Then you leave us no choice. Prepare to be boarded. We will show you the folly of human arrogance." As the transmission cut off, Lydia turned to her crew. "Battle stations. Activate the Phoenix array and prepare for engagement." The bridge erupted into a flurry of activity as klaxons blared throughout the ship. Lydia watched as the Colin fleet began to move into attack formation, their energy weapons charging. "They're targeting our engines," Ravi reported, his fingers dancing across his console. Evasive maneuvers initiated. The Defiant banked hard, narrowly avoiding the first volley of column fire. Lydia gripped her command chair as the ship shuddered under the strain of high-G maneuvers. "Return fire," she ordered. "Target their lead ships. Let's show them what the Phoenix can do." The space around the Defiant lit up as the Phoenix array came to life. Beams of concentrated energy lanced out, striking the column vessels with pinpoint accuracy. Shields flickered and failed under the onslaught, and Lydia watched with grim satisfaction as the first enemy ship erupted in a ball of plasma. But the columns were not easily defeated. Their superior numbers began to tell as they pressed their attack, surrounding the human fleet. "Shields down to 60%, Ravi called out. "We can't take much more of this, Captain." Lydia's mind raced, searching for a solution. Then she saw it, an opportunity hidden in the swirling gases of the nebula. "Helm, take us into the nebula," she commanded. "Navigation, plot a course through the densest areas. Ravi, recalibrate the Phoenix array to ionize the nebula gases." Her crew looked at her in confusion for a moment before understanding dawned. They sprang into action, executing her orders with practiced efficiency. The Defiant plunged into the colorful mists of the Cerulean Nebula, the Colin fleet in hot pursuit. As they navigated through the treacherous gases, Lydia watched her plan unfold. "Now," she shouted. "Fire the Phoenix array." The ship's weapons discharged, not at the enemy vessels, but into the nebula itself. The energy beams ignited the gases, creating a chain reaction that spread rapidly through the sector. The pursuing Colin ships found themselves engulfed in a firestorm of ionized particles, their shields failing under the unexpected assault. As the Defiant emerged from the other side of the nebula, Lydia surveyed the aftermath. The Colin fleet was in disarray, many of their ships disabled or destroyed by the ingenious tactic. Admiral Exorthak's face appeared once more on the holographic display, his expression a mixture of anger and grudging respect. "It seems we have underestimated you, Captain Frost. Perhaps there is more to humanity than we realized." Lydia allowed herself a small smile. "We may be newcomers to the galactic stage, Admiral, but we are quick learners. I suggest you remember that in future encounters." As the Colin fleet retreated, leaving the Cerulean Nebula to the human explorers, Lydia felt a surge of pride. They had faced their first true test against a superior force and emerged victorious. It was a small battle in what promised to be a long conflict, but it was a decisive one. The ancient gun, once a symbol of humanity's primitive past, had evolved into the Phoenix array, a weapon that had just turned the tide of an interstellar confrontation. As the Defiant set course for home, Lydia knew that the galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. The age of human subservience was over, and a new chapter in galactic history had begun. Dr. Patel and her team worked tirelessly to develop new weapons and defenses based on the principles they had applied to the ancient gun. Their efforts focused on creating a comprehensive defense system that could protect Earth and its colonies from potential Colin aggression. As tensions continued to escalate, both humans and Colins engaged in a technological arms race. The ancient gun, once a symbol of mockery, had become the catalyst for a new era of human innovation and determination. Humanity's rapid advancement in military technology began to close the gap with the Colins, leading to a precarious balance of power. Diplomatic efforts to ease tensions continued in parallel with military preparations. The UEF sought to build alliances with other alien races, many of whom had also experienced the Colins' condescension. These diplomatic initiatives aimed to create a united front against Colin expansionism while still leaving room for peaceful resolution. As the galaxy watched, humanity stood at a crossroads. The ancient gun had sparked a transformation, propelling humans from a position of perceived inferiority to that of a formidable galactic player. The future remained uncertain, but one thing was clear: humanity would no longer be underestimated. The stage was set for a potential conflict that would determine the fate of not just humanity, but the entire galactic order. As both sides prepared for the possibility of war, the ancient gun stood as a testament to human ingenuity and the power of innovation in the face of adversity.